And we didn't, what else didn't we watch? Was there anything on SmackDown? We talked about
we
that
talked
on
about
the experience,
SmackDown.
didn't we? Yeah.
We didn't watch about 90% of Raw.
Yeah, well, no, we didn't. We didn't, but we did. Well, actually, I watched a little more of Raw than you did because I just wanted to be completely fair and honest and objective when I pronounced this program dead on arrival. So I checked its pulse, its respiration, checked all the vital signs, and no, Whoo! But it was bookended by two of the oddest segments that I've ever seen on the program, and one of them was just lack of ability to perform any of the material they had and make it interesting. That was last. We'll talk about that. But the opening segment, you saw this first, and then you said, holy, what the fuck, right? I understand because I believe that I understand a bit of how Vince McMahon thinks. So I understand why they were doing it. I just don't know that I understand why nobody could necessarily talk him out of it. And I understand why they picked Titus O'Neil, because here's the thing. All the bad publicity and the attorneys investigating Vince's improprieties and the news stories and all that stuff, they want to babyface the company. And when Vince came out and, pretty much showed everybody that he wasn't going to go anywhere and that he was fuck you to the people investigating me and I brought you this shit, he liked it. But I bet you somebody said to him, well, Vince, the thing is, you're delivering the message here, and maybe we ought to babyface the company a little more. So somehow, somebody planted in the idea in his head that we need to get a different spokesman for the message. So they find the only guy in the company that nobody can say anything bad about or has anything bad to say about or hadn't done anything stupid in public that we know of. And is seen at a lot of charity events and, does these things. And he gets to deliver the message about how babyface the company is. Have you ever seen a motherfucker more uncomfortable in certain positions in that promo than he was? Could you tell that Titus knew that he was out there in a death spot to try to, somehow babyface, Mussolini's army? He didn't look too comfortable.
No, and how could you be? What was the point of it? If you're selling him on it, okay, here's what we want you to do. Does he at any point say why? Why are we doing this? And then they can say, well, because Vince can't go on TV again because every time he does, another 3 women come out.
Yeah.
Didn't he previously get suspended for grabbing Vince's arm once?
Yes.
And he missed a WrestleMania payday because of it?
Yeah. And that deal was they were all walking back up the ramp and Stephanie was walking up and Titus O'Neil reached out and just, didn't grab is a strong word, took hold of Vince's arm and he said, hey, ladies first. And Vince pulled away from him like he had just stuck a shitty finger up Vince's nose and got mad and yelled at him on the spot and then suspended him for some period of time. And that was a big story. Like, what the fuck? And he must have got up on the wrong side of the bed that day, but it was a way outsized response for the incident that happened. And then later on, they make he doesn't wrestle anymore. Did he get hurt or did they just say, okay, we're going to make this guy the global ambassador because Vince suspended him one time and looked bad over it? I don't know. But the point is, Titus O'Neil opens up with this somber thing, and it was almost like the opening of a charity fundraising telethon where you come out and the lights are subdued and the spokesman or host or whatever tells the story of this horrible illness that we're going to try to combat. But instead, he was delivering this message. Anything he did in his career or anything else in his life, that was great. but he said he actually reached the pinnacle of success by becoming WWE Global Ambassador, a position that had never existed before they gave it to him. And I'm not knocking Titus O'Neil, folks. I'm telling you, they had him come out and say this. And so I'm knocking those people. And now he reps the WWE all over the world, spreading goodwill. We put smiles on people's faces. We help the less fortunate. We support service members around the globe. And that got a little USA, USA. And we support causes like family and health and community. And so far it is a charity fundraiser telethon, right? And then he goes to, that's why, this is a quote, that's why you'll never hear WWE talk about politics or religion or any divisive subject matter. And then he paused, waiting for the applause and the cheers that never came, and he just got a from the audience, and then you saw the look on his face like, oh shit, that didn't get over. And where am I going?
And why would it? Who's going to pop for that?
Again. And now the people are going, well, okay, wait, where is this going? Why are we seeing this? And then he says, regardless of race, nationality, economic status, this is a safe haven to have a good time. No, we thought if you...
That's Vince's argument in court, I think.
Well, yeah,
I didn't do anything wrong. This is a safe haven to have a good time.
Have a good time. And the people are like... And then he says, so are you ready to have a good time? Well, of course they cheer. Yes, please stop. You're killing our buzz.
Start the show.
So welcome to Monday Night Raw. And that gets a cheer. But if there had some way, if there had been a point to him saying that, if some occurrence had instigated him making that statement, or even some occurrence that they could have claimed, but there was no reason for it. It was just out there. And there you go.
We're a couple of weeks away from a 5-minute opening montage of Make-A-Wish stuff that WWE's done over there 40 years. It's going to happen. That's what this is, right?
Everyone deserves credit for the charitable work they do, but this was kind of like rubbing the puppy's nose in the mess with having this guy come out here and make this long statement about all the good things. None of the people in the arena said they didn't do these good things or have any problem with them. So they're like, why do we have to listen to this? Is this, a school assembly?
We won't discuss politics because you will hate half the locker room and the ownership. We won't discuss politics because we haven't done SmackDown the vote in a while. What was that speech?
And we will... whenever we can get away with it, have something in ridiculously bad taste, but we won't discuss politics, religion, or divisive subjects.
We are a cure to loneliness.
We will. Our owner, his wife, will be appointed to the fucking cabinet of the most criminal president in the history of the United States of America, but we don't discuss politics on this program. So they certainly started off on a somber tone, didn't they? There wasn't anything to really get salivating about after that.
And again, I'm a different fan than someone who doesn't give a shit about wrestling beyond what they see on TV, but I immediately turned off the channel and turned to the Home Run Derby. And it wasn't just because it was the Home Run Derby, but there was nothing in that segment that hooked me to see anything else on the show. And then it went right to the commentators, and I was really like, oh, I'm done with this. I'll check in later on.
Well, I'll fill you in on a few things, but the Home Run Derby, who won?
Pete Alonso from the Mets had won the previous 2 years, let me say that, but he did not win this year. Juan Soto, who is on the Washington Nationals and just turned down a $440 million contract. He may be a Met one day, we'll see what happens, but he won the Home Run Derby.
What was his time?
No, they all have the same time.
Well, then how can anybody win if they all have the same time? If somebody's got to win the fucking race.
How do you think a Home Run Derby works?
Well, I'm assuming they're not really riding horses. I thought they just ran themselves.
Okay.
Because it would be awkward to get a horse on a baseball field and have him run the bases.
I think the manure would be a problem.
Isn't a home run derby? That's if you hit a home run, the fastest time around the bases wins, right?
It's who can hit the most home runs in a set period of time with a couple bonus periods that are enabled by certain goals being met.
Huh? Why do they call it a derby if nobody's running? The Kentucky Derby, the horses run. Home run derby, the guys hitting the home runs ought to run.
The fans run for the home run balls.
Well, how can you tell who wins there? Who catches it?
Well, there's no victor.
It seems like random chance, not a contest of skill.
Oh, there is one guy. They've done a couple of things, I think, on Real Sports about him. This annoying guy who goes to baseball games and pushes kids out of the way to get baseballs. He has the largest collection of baseballs from games. He catches major home runs. He knows where to sit, but he will shove people out of the way and do anything he can to get the balls.
Has anybody punched him in the face?
Not yet, I don't think, but it should happen.
He's out there shoving kids. Where's the kids' parents? They just drop them off at the ball game, free babysitting or whatever.
We were talking about Raw.
These little fucking rugrats ought to be goddamn supervised. They could get into trouble.
So now you're against the kids.
Around. Well, I'm against everybody. I'm saying the kids ought to be supervised or else they'll get into trouble. But this fucking guy pushing the kids around, one of the fucking parents that's obviously not there supervising the kids ought to punch him in his fucking face.
Have you ever been to a baseball game?
I went to see... Who did Mickey Mantle play for in the 60s? Huh?
You're kidding, right?
I'm asking you a question. It was a New York team. I know they've got a couple.
The New York Yankees. He's one of the most famous Yankees or baseball players in general of all time.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, when I was 5 years old, my father took my mom and I to New York because he had a business trip, some meeting or whatever, and we went for a few days, and I saw the Statue of Liberty, and I saw the Empire State Building, and he took me to a baseball game at what I guess Yankee Stadium would be where the Yankees play in New York, right? We went to Yankee Stadium because he wanted me to see Mickey Mantle play. Well, I'm 5 years old, right? And baseball takes forever. So basically, after 6 innings or whatever, whenever they do the stretch thing,
7
I'm
innings.
getting a little cranky.
The middle of the 7th inning, they do that.
Okay, I'm getting a little cranky, and he said, well, there isn't going to be a lot of traffic. Let's beat the traffic. And we left, and then Mickey Mantle hit a home run.
You found out after the fact that he hit a home run after you left?
Yeah, because my mom told me that story many, many years after, many times. Yeah, we took you just so you could see Mickey Mantle hit a home run, and then we left, and then Mickey Mantle hit the home run. But I don't remember the goddamn ball. I remember the Empire State Building, and I remember the Statue of Liberty, and the Staten Island Ferry was, I think I made my mom take me back and forth twice. I have memories of that, because like I said, I was 5, but I don't remember but I have the program from the baseball game and a little kid's New York Yankees cap from 1966.
So is this where your hatred of driving in New York comes from? The horror of leaving the game and knowing the home run was hit?
No, I don't remember that whole thing. I don't remember the traffic or anything. But I do remember the Statue of Liberty, the Staten Island Ferry, and a little bit of the Empire State Building. So baseball never made a fucking impression on me at all.
Do you remember the show we were reviewing a few minutes ago before we decided to talk about home run derbies and baseball?
That was something else that didn't make an impression.